In this Guild Ball gameplay commentary, my opponent is Alex Botts of the Strictly the Worst Guild Ball podcast. We decided to do the draft format this game, which is the standard for competitive play. My roster of 9 is Midas, Smoke, Calculus, Mercury, Compound, Catalyst, Harry, Vitriol, Flask. Alex's 9 are Vet Rage, Minx, Harry, Avarice and Greed, Mist, Decimate, Strongbox, Coin, and Gutter. We select plots. I end up with Sick'em, Wingback, and Brace for Impact. Alex ends up with Who Are Ya, Knee Slider, and Field Dressing. I win the roll to go first, and I choose to receive. My thought here is that even though I prefer to kick, since I enjoy the turn 1 Vitriol threat, I don't think I can give him the ball and all the free movement that comes with Harry's aura. I draft first since I am going first. I open with Flask since he's the only mascot on my roster. Alex follows with Harry, and I counter with my own Harry. This isn't really that surprising since Harry is among the best models in the entire game, and he's on both of our rosters. I would be absolutely shocked if he wasn't played by either of us. Alex picks up Strongbox. I go Vitriol. She's a must-take here since I require multiple goal threats in order to win this game. I'm not going to be able to outfight Captain Rage. Alex counters with his Captain. From here, I have to decide which strategy I want to choose since I've selected my roster in such a way that doesn't lock me into Smoke or Midas. I get to choose between Smoke's Condition game, have a pick that's something like Smoke, Calculus, Mercury from here, or I can go with some sort of standard Midas roster. I choose to go Midas largely due to the fact that he will be more forgiving to play, and Alex is one of the best players in the country currently, so the ability to bounce back from a mistake will be important here. Alex picks up Gutter here, and until this point I hadn't seen Gutter in Season 3, and needless to say this game she really impressed me. I counter with Catalyst. Catalyst is pretty much an auto-include for me here. I need to be able to brawl a little bit more, and with him and Harry, 2 takeouts is looking pretty doable. Alex selects Avarice and Greed. I follow up, and I decide to choose Calculus as my last slot. The thought here is that she will largely just look to blind people and otherwise be a battery. And he has 3 players that I would love to blind, Harry, Rage, and Gutter. Alex wraps up his picks with Minx. We move on to deployment. Alex sets up in the center of the pitch. Moving from top to bottom, we have Gutter, Strongbox, Rage, Harry, Avarice and Greed, and Minx on the wing. Harry is kicking. I set up very spread knowing that Alex likes to take these very greedy kicks that can really punish me if I don't spread out. I put Vitriol and Flask at the top so that way Vitriol has the maximum movement ability. Harry in the middle, then Midas, Catalyst, and Calculus at the bottom. There's nothing too special going on here. I have the slow beaters in the middle and the more nimble ones on the outside, and then Calculus can affect the game at range, so she's also on one of the wings. Harry kicks towards Vitriol. I allocate. I put 2 on Vitriol, 2 on Flask, 3 on Harry, 4 on Midas, and 2 on Katie, and I don't put anything on Calculus. Thought here is to do a passing chain for momentum and try to keep everyone away from Harry, who is going to be put into my lines this turn. And then we can use Midas later in the turn to pull people out of bad spots with his Lure of Gold ability. Alex moves on to allocation. He puts 1 on Minx, 1 on Avarice, 4 on Rage, 4 on Harry, 2 on Gutter. I activate Vitriol, I sprint up to the ball and kick it back to Flask, generating 1 momentum, and we pass the turn back to Alex. Alex just takes a delaying activation by moving Strongbox up. I activate Flask and attempt to pass to Harry. I know this only has a 50-50% chance of succeeding, but it's very unlikely that the ball will scatter to somewhere dangerous. So we take the 1 dice kick and we miss it, but the ball scatters right back to Harry. Alex sprints Minx up slightly. I decide I want to delay a bit, so I activate Calculus and jog her up in front of Catalyst. Alex activates Gutter, sprinting her up just outside of Harry's threat, knowing I have no way to increase his threat range. My Harry activates, kicks to Midas, misses, but it scatters right back to Midas again. This is rough because showboating here would allow me to position Midas better for Lure of Gold later in the turn. Harry moves up and uses Molotov, catches Gutter in the AoE but misses her. I consider for a moment whether I want to use Crazy so that I can have a good counterattack versus his Harry when his Harry comes into me, but I decide against it due to the high probability that he'll just knock my Harry down on the charge. Alex activates Avarice and Greed. Avarice picks up Greed, sprints up to the cover, and drops Greed, making sure to keep both out of Harry and Midas's threat range. I activate Midas, he kicks the ball to Calculus, and uses Showboating to dodge over toward Vitriol. Midas sprints over to Vitriol, he uses Lure of Gold to pull her out of Harry's threat range. Alex sprints up Rage and uses Quick Time on Harry, and doesn't use the last influence on him. I sprint Catalyst up to project threat on the area where I think Harry will end up at the end of the turn. Alex activates Harry, uses Crazy, declares a charge on my Harry. I decide to use Defensive Stance because I think it guarantees that Harry doesn't die to 2 activations in a row from his Harry. Alex's Harry charges my Harry, being careful not to hit my fire AoE. He scores a momentous knockdown on his charge. Alex's Harry attacks again, gets momentous double push. Alex's Harry attacks for one final time and selects momentous double push. This ends the turn. The Union team has a 2 momentum lead and wins the initiative roll. Alex allocates. He puts 4 on Harry, 4 on Gutter, 4 on Rage. This allocation implies a turn of heavy killing for Alex. Notice that it's very focused on his punchy players. I allocate 2 on Calculus, 4 on Catalyst, 5 on Midas, 2 on Vitriol. We don't allocate anything to Harry because Harry is dead no matter what I do, but unfortunately, this allows Alex to kill Harry at his own leisure. With Calculus, the plan is to pass the ball and blind someone. With Vitriol, we want to be able to charge someone with the Cloud, and since we have Wingback, we can place the Cloud and charge on just 2. Catalyst gets 4 because we need one of our beaters to have a lot of influence, and Midas gets the rest because he is Midas, and I'm not sure how, but I think we can score this turn. We are also on the lookout for any sneaky Sikkim charges we can do with Flask. Gutter activates and charges my Harry. Alex has to put Gutter into the rough terrain, so as a result he can't also engage Midas, but he is able to get Gutter within 6 inches of Catalyst for a chain grab later in the combat. Gutter's charge wraps by 3 on my knockdown Harry. Alex chooses Chain Grab and Scything Blow. He resolves Chain Grab first, pulling in Catalyst. Fortunately for me, the Chain Grab does not pull him into range because Catalyst hits my Harry before entering Gutter's melee zone. Gutter swings on Harry again, hitting Chain Grab, pulling Midas into her melee zone. And the last swing from Gutter does a momentous 2 to Harry. I choose to activate Calculus next. The plan here is to blind someone and pass the ball. I'm thinking that Rage is the best target here since I can deny his free charge, but maybe Harry would have been a better choice in retrospect since Rage has Red Fury and can just make use of his influence even if he's blinded. I go to blind Rage and I choose to bonus time it and I hit the blind, then I kick to Catalyst, which is successful. I use Harry's aura to dodge with Catalyst as a way to engage his Harry for free. Alex activates Rage, jogs him up 3 inches, uses Bloody Coin on Gutter to increase her damage and attack by 1, uses Red Fury on Gutter to swing on Harry, wraps by 3, applying Scything Blow and 3 damage to Harry. The Scything Blow also catches Midas, dealing 2 damage to him. Gutter swings again and applies the same results again. Gutter swings again due to Red Fury, dealing Scything Blow and 3 damage, again killing Harry and taking Midas down to 5 hit points. With his last influence, Rage has Harry swing on Catalyst, hitting twice, applying a momentous double push. I go ahead and I activate Catalyst. The plan here is to make momentum so we can heal Midas and to put out some damage. I jog into base with Harry, declare an attack on Harry. Harry declares a counterattack. I get 3 net hits and decide to push my luck a bit here and take the 2 damage knockdown over the momentous knockdown in hope that we can get Harry off the pitch this turn, or at the very least force him to activate next. Harry doesn't get to make his counterattack since he's knocked down. I move to my next swing on Harry, We take a momentous external combustion, dealing 3 damage to Harry and lighting him on fire. Again, I am pushing my luck here a bit by only pushing him to max melee, hoping that we can roll 5 hits again and have our next swing send him careening into the other players behind him. With our next swing, we get all hits again, giving us access to our entire playbook, and we choose Momentous External Combustion. We push Harry back into Rage, Avarice, and Greed, lighting everyone on fire. We do this to force Harry to clear if he wants to use his influence. This is relevant because it prevents him from healing, keeping him within kill range for us. With Catalyst's last influence, we use it to kick to Midas. Midas and Catalyst are both engaged by Gutter, making us both lose a dice and increase my target number by 1, a rare circumstance where one model gets to apply 2 debuffs to someone. So I choose to bonus time the kick, I miss the kick, the ball scatters to within Midas and Gutter's snap range. We roll our contested kicks and Midas comes up with the ball. Before ending our activation, we use Command Mate to heal Midas, bringing him up to a respectable 9 hit points. Alex activates his Harry, opens with Command Mate on Rage to remove conditions, and reveals the plot card Field Dressing, also clearing Harry's conditions. Harry jogs, engaging Midas and Catalyst. Harry uses Crazy and swings on Catalyst. Catalyst declares a counter. We are trying to force him to take the knockdown. If he flubs the roll, it could be back-breaking for Harry's activation. But a shame he doesn't. Applies Momentous 2 damage and a double push. My counterattack can't resolve because now I'm out of melee range. Harry swings on Catalyst again, applying a Momentous knockdown. Then Harry moves to swinging on Midas. He hits only once, doing 1 damage. Harry swings on him again, this time doing 2 damage. Alex has no influence left on the board, so I have close to exclusive control of the rest of the turn, with maybe the possible exception of his counterattacks. I activate Midas. I jog base to base with Gutter so she can't push me out of melee range. I declare a swing on Gutter. Gutter declares her counterattack. I get a momentous dodge on 1. Gutter counterattacks, dealing 2 damage to Midas. We swing again on Gutter. I get a momentous dodge again. Swing again. Momentous dodge again. Then we pause here and we take a moment to examine what our snapshot options look like with a pass back to Vitriol, because I think that's the only way we're going to make a goal happen. I decide to take the heroic dodge out of Gutter's melee. I super shot and kick the ball to Vitriol. We succeed and showboat forward to within our snapshot range. Alex activates Avarice, picks up Greed, which clears Greed's conditions, clears Avarice's conditions, then walks Avarice just outside of Midas's melee range so that he doesn't proc unpredictable movement, and drops Greed to engage Midas. This is absolutely brutal for my snapshot plans, since he now has 3 models applying kick modifiers to Midas. This puts me down 3 dice, 1 for being engaged by Greed, 2 for Strongbox, and Avarice being in the way of the ball. On top of that, he manages to block line of sight, so the target number for this goal is 5. Needless to say, I abandon any hope of a snapshot this turn. I activate Flask, jog up, and place the cloud on Harry. We don't actually place the physical marker here, since there really isn't any good way to do it with the jumble of minis that is this battle. Alex activates Minx, charges Calculus for free, and takes poison for entering her melee zone. He chooses 2 momentous damage and a 1-inch dodge, and she is snared as a result. Minx spends 2 to heal Harry, bringing him up to 9 hit points, then takes her back to the Shadow's dodge. I activate Vitriol and reveal Wingback to charge Harry for 1 influence. I declare hidden damage. We are looking to wrap here, or there's just no way we kill Harry, but if we do, the next attack almost guarantees that we actually kill Harry. Alex declares defensive stance in response. We do manage to wrap, dealing Momentous 4, double dodge, and 2 damage. We attack again. We decide to use bonus time just to guarantee that we actually get the kill here, and manage to hit the top of our playbook to do 3 momentous damage, double dodge. Killing Harry brings our score to 2-2. Alex jogs Strongbox up, staying just outside of Midas's melee zone. This ends the turn. The Union team is up 4 momentum and wins the initiative roll. This is where I realize I've made a bit of a mistake, since I should have spent my momentum healing players because it's near impossible for me to win the initiative roll. Minx takes her 2 damage from poison. Alex allocates. He puts 4 on rage, 3 on avarice, 1 on greed, 4 on gutter. I move to allocation. I place 4 on catalyst, 3 on vitriol, 2 on Midas, 4 on Harry. This is clearly his feat turn, and I'm going to lose a player. Alex is going to take control of this game by killing as much influence as he can. The hope is that I am not incentivizing him to kill Midas, because if he does kill Midas before I score, I'm not sure how I win this game. And I don't think Rage can do 25 to Catalyst. Alex activates Rage and pops his legendary. Rage charges Catalyst. This is where I realize that my math is off by a lot because Catalyst is actually knocked down. Rage does 9 damage on the charge, generating 1 momentum. Rage then swings 3 times in quick succession, doing Momentous 4, Momentous 4, and Momentous 4. With his final attack, he kills Catalyst, doing 2 momentous results from his playbook, so that generates 3 momentum in the process. Score is now 4-2. What I want to do next is score with Midas, but as long as Avarice and Greed haven't activated, it will be very easy for Greed to steal the ball from Midas. So instead, we activate Harry. We use Crazy with Harry. We charge Gutter. Gutter uses Defensive Stance. We can't quite make it to base contact, so we get as close as we can. We whiff the roll really hard and only have 2 net hits. We decide after some deliberation to deal 2 damage to her. We attack again and deal 2 momentous damage with a double push. The last attack with Harry we do is a momentous knockdown. We heal Midas, bringing him up to 12 hit points. Alex activates Minx, heals Gutter, then charges Harry. She deals momentous 2 damage, snared, and a dodge. She then uses Back to the Shadows. I activate Vitriol, place a smoke cloud down, and swing on Minx. We take a momentous push dodge. We kick to Midas with bonus time. This brings us back up to 4 dice, needing 5s. We hit the kick and use Showboating to dodge Midas away from Avarice and Greed. We decide to leave Vitriol, thinking that the crowd out will help control Gutter's next activation. Alex activates Gutter. He shakes the knockdown, then swings on Harry. So I really think I have Alex pretty good here. Since I have a double crowd out and cover, he's down 3 dice. But with the single gang up and Rage's legendary, he is only down 1 dice, and I realize this could get bad very quickly. On top of that, Harry is snared, so he's only def 2. I declare a counterattack with Harry. Gutter deals 2 momentous damage. Harry swings, and we whiff the roll really badly too, with only 1 hit after armor. We deal 1 damage to Gutter. Alex then realizes he can walk Gutter out of Flask's melee range with little to no repercussions, so I take a parting blow with Flask. I wrap for 2 damage. Now Gutter is able to swing at flat dice against Harry. She takes her attack and gets Chain Grab on Midas, pulling him into base. In retrospect, it was a huge mistake not to pin Gutter with Vitriol when I had the chance, so that way she couldn't walk out of Flask's melee range. Gutter swings on Harry, dealing 2 momentous damage and killing him. This brings the score to 6-2. I activate Midas and declare a swing on Gutter. She declares a counterattack. Again, my dice are not great, and I come up with only a momentous dodge. Gutter's counterattack is down 1 dice against Midas, and she rolls Absolute Fire and chooses to push Midas back into base contact. Our goal prospects seem rough here, and our only option to stay on parity in points is to take a free strike with Midas. Fortunately, Gutter's tackles on 4, and her parting blow only comes up with 2 damage. We jog up and use my heroic for the last bit of movement we needed. We measure our legendary, and since we're going to hit 3 players, I decide I'm not going to get a much better opportunity than the one I have right now. So we pop Midas's legendary, we take the shot and bonus time it, and we get it. Alex plays Who Are Ya on Midas. We place Snare on Strongbox Avarice, and Greed. This brings the score to 6-6. Alex kicks the ball out in front of Avarice and Greed. He activates Avarice and Greed. Avarice picks up Greed, which clears his conditions. Avarice clears Snared with a momentum. Avarice charges Vitriol. I defensive stance, knowing that he will likely take the knockdown, but that this will prevent a wrap for sure. Avarice picks up the ball on his way to Vitriol. He gets 2 successes and still gets the knockdown. He unattaches Greed, handing Greed the ball. He swings on Vitriol again, does momentous 3 damage and double push. Greed spends a momentum to glide since he was dropped in rough terrain. Jogs up to the goal within range, takes a shot, down 1 dice for being engaged by Flask, and uses bonus time to bring him back up to 4 dice. And he misses the goal. This gives me a huge opening, because if he makes that, he wins the initiative roll, kills Knockdown Vitriol trivially, and wins the game, but without the goal, he's still fairly far from that win. I activate Calculus and shake Snared. Then I jog her back towards the goal. Alex jogs Strongbox up, and then Harry up, forgetting I still have Flask, but it doesn't really matter. I slightly adjust the positioning of Flask. Alex's momentum lead guarantees him first activation. He allocates. He puts 1 on Greed, 3 on Avarice, 2 on Harry, 2 on Minx, 4 on Rage. I move to my allocation. I jog Harry and Catalyst back onto the pitch and try to use the goal to protect them from Rage's charge. I put 3 on Calculus, 2 on Catalyst, 4 on Harry, 3 on Vitriol. The 4 on Harry turns out to be a huge mistake because with the positioning, I can't really put him anywhere relevant. Alex goes ahead and activates Avarice, and he swings on Knockdown Vitriol. He hits Momentous Singled Out. Avarice swings again, hits Momentous 3 with a double push. Swings 1 more time, gets Momentous 3, double push, and pushes her into base contact with him. Then he jogs around to the other side of her. Greed jogs up to the ball, taking a parting blow from Flask. Flask deals 1 damage to Greed. Greed takes his 4 dice tap in, and he hits a screamer. Alex reveals Knee Slider as his plot card, and pulls Greed back to safety. I resolve my kickoff, placing the ball near Calculus. Vitriol will die, and the game will end if I do not activate her right now. I could alternatively admit that I've lost this game and play for tie breaks, since I have a decent snapshot option on Midas. I decide to try and play for the win, and I activate Vitriol. I shake Knockdown. The hope here is to buy myself a turn or 2 and hope that the board develops into one I can win on. I spend 2 to put Clone up, and then I take a swing at Avarice. Avarice declares a counterattack. I take my swing, I hit the momentous push dodge, and push dodge my way out of melee. Avarice can't make his counterattack because I'm no longer engaged. I use my advance to put Gutter between Vitriol and Rage. Rage activates, uses Red Fury on Gutter, and pops Clone. I then have Vitriol dodge out of Gutter's melee zone. Rage jogs to the ball and takes a parting blow from Flask, which he completely misses. Rage kicks the ball to Gutter with bonus time. The kick is good, and Gutter uses the momentum generated from the kick to dodge back into Vitriol. Rage uses Red Fury on Gutter again. I declare a counterattack. Gutter hits and takes push and pushes Vitriol into base contact. Vitriol counters and does 3. I really wish I could use Clone more than once per turn. Rage has Gutter swing 1 more time, and she does 1 damage. I sit here and look at my best line of play for a while, and none of it's that good. I can have Calculus charge and tackle the ball from Rage, then pass it to Midas for a snapshot, but I lose the game on the spot if I do that. I decide to charge with Catalyst, and if I wrap, I can heal Vitriol, but the odds are very bad. 8 hits on 10 dice is just rough. I charge Minx, and Alex uses defensive stance. I come incredibly close with this roll, and I get 6 hits. I decide to take External combustion. Alex activates Harry, uses Crazy, then jogs over to Vitriol and declares an attack. I declare a counter. Harry whiffs his attack. My counter gets me a push dodge, but can't get me out of melee with Harry since he went to base contact. Harry swings again, hits, does the final damage point on Vitriol. Union wins the game, 12-6. This has been another typical game of Guild Ball. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me whether you enjoyed this gameplay commentary, what team you would like to see me play against next, and what mistakes we made during the game. I was recently on Strictly the Worst Guild Ball podcast, which has Alex as one of its hosts. Give him a listen. Links are in the description. I would also like to thank Mickey Robertson, who loaned me assets from his app, GB Keeper, which is available on the App Store on iOS.